So you hear we us all of us hear how do you perceive things and I a big part of what the way I approach music is in groups like you're hearing chunks or thoughts or pieces of thoughts and in this case this A natural is part of that B flat. It's kind of like a pickup. So da 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 dum. And
Mm-hmm.
this G sharp to me is part of that B flat. It's really kind of and the da 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 da. So if I were to re-articulate all this, really the way I'm hearing it is I'm kind of slurring those two. I'm slurring these five, and then I'm slurring these five, or maybe five, and then I'm retonguing down here. So to kind of overemphasize the way I'm hearing the groups, and maybe Drake even do what I was doing by the second time, really kind of using those pickups to sort of lead me into where I'm headed. So in a way, I'm kind of thinking that's there's a little crescendo on each of those pickup notes that leads me to that next point. So over exaggerating, I'll articulate, I'll tongue the pickups, and then I'll crescendo them and I'll accent each of those strong beats afterwards. That's the way I'm hearing and perceiving the groupings. Now, when I put it all together, I kind of have to hide that, but that keeps me in place because what he's doing really in reality is he's messing with us a little bit because this A sounds like should it be on the upbeat or downbeat? I don't know, but it's not on either. So where am I? Where's my beat? And that's the only way I can keep track in my mind of where pulse is if I make my determinations of how they are. Are they pickups? And where is my strong beat?
Mm-hmm.
Let me go in a gradual process, playing really overemphasized, out of rhythm, and then less and less and less into like really just smooth.
Okay.
Does that make some sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Give it a try. Let's try that whole process. Break it up a lot, little by little, as you're comfortable with each of those pauses. Put pauses, rhythmic pauses, and then start to gradually put it together. I put this little retard at the end. But I don't know. It depends on our speed. If I'm taking this faster, I might not have time to do that. So I'm going to leave that up to you. What do you think?
Okay.
Accent the C at the end too.
Okay.
That's kind of its own group. That was the best one yet. Now let's add one little thing to this. Make that lead crescendo wise to that C.
Okay.
The last four. Dee da 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 dum. So keep going. Do it again. Do it a few more times. More connected.
That was interesting. Okay.
Hmm. Now think that. and play it all the way through to that C. So slightly faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great. So what that does is it gives us like this whole group of 30 seconds that are just like immediately imposing all this fear on us. Oh my gosh, where am I? Is you have like little mini units all throughout, and it gives your phrase this shape, this direction, and some logic basically to how you're going to proceed. Once you get that high E out, what do I do next? And this gives you little goal points, little milestones to kind of go through. Fantastic. Great. Try a couple more times. Dolce means sweetly. Let's hear what you think that means in your terms. For me, it means probably shaping the dynamics a little bit, which you're doing. Even do it more.
Okay. Did not like that one.
Okay, I liked it actually. So if we kind of come backwards to where you were when you first did it, that is notably more smooth than you first did it. So if you didn't like that one, that means your standards are like becoming more aware. You're becoming, higher standards. So keep going.
All right.
As you're going through it, by the way, start to memorize the passage
Okay.
gradually.
I can do EC. That's all I had memorized at that point. I looked away and I was like, well, let's find out. So I had EC. So
Mm-hmm.
okay.
A little faster.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. So now you have it under control, and it sounds very. It's a better way to put it than under control. It's within your capabilities. It's very natural. There's not a lot of thinking going on. You're thinking more about the direction and the phrasing, the shaping, how you speak, rather than oh my gosh, what comes next? What note am I on? Can I get where's the beat? You've internalized it. You've like made it your own phrase. And how did you do that? The process that you did that by was, in this case, is to look at groups, look at little points, break it up sort of metrically, because Brahms does this, to have little resting points in a sense. And then that's the way we learn this, and we learn to teach our ears to perceive groups as separate units that gradually kind of come together. Once they come to, or maybe we should say this, as those groups are being kind of learned individually and put together gradually, which you just did that whole process, you're continuing to like teach your fingers those patterns, and also your ears how the continuity and the shape of the phrase goes. And little by little, really kind of intuitively, you were inserting dynamics and little shadings of phrasings in there, and you're controlling all that with your air. So a lot of this stuff, we can kind of approach it with like a tangible thought, a tangible sort of set of practice objective skills. But then we also, there's a sort of a natural thing that takes over with our ear after a while. And so this is what I consider kind of a thoughtful repetition practice, rather than just like rote repetition, just repeat, repeat, repeat while you're watching a basketball game on TV. You're just repeating. No, that's not the kind of practice we want. What you're doing is the thoughtful repetition. You probably did it 10 times or so just now, maybe more, I don't remember. But each of those times was actually thinking and really like engaged and committed to thinking through that phrase each time, evaluating what you did, improving each time through. And now maybe the next step you can go for is, like we said earlier, is to work to learn to memorize the phrase a bit. So, and that just takes more again, thoughtful repetition like you're doing. So I think it's not the worst thing in the world to turn on sort of the Quizlet mentality at this point.
Yeah.
If we were to continue on, and like you said, oh, I looked away and all I can remember was the first two notes. That's a good thing. That means that you're actually thinking now about like another aspect of this is what are the notes. So as your fingers are kind of going naturally because your eyes are connecting with what to do with your fingers next, and your ears also hopefully, then the next stage is to give those little kind of frequent quizzes to yourself. Okay, now I got, after my high E and my high C, I have my G sharp and my A. Okay, do I have that D da 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 da? Okay, that's good. And you gradually just put it together so that now that next objective can be to memorize it. And in that process of trying to memorize that phrase, you haven't lost all the other stuff that you
Yeah.
worked on as far as the groupings go. You're still remembering about how you group phrases. So this is great. This is fantastic.